What is up? Thank you for joining me for another video. Today, I'm going to start something a little bit different. I have a lot of experience arranging a cappella music. I was the music director for a successful college a cappella group called the Takata Tones from High Point University, and we got featured on BOCA a number of times, Voices Only, and something that I really, really enjoy. So I figured what I'd do today is I'd go over how to arrange something in a predicament that I found myself in quite often. And that was that you have 2 weeks until your next show and you were just asked to do a song in this genre or whatever. And so you have to pump out an arrangement really, really quickly and then teach it to your group and then get the performance ready. And so you got to be able to do it quickly. And you also need to make it easy for your guys to learn while also obviously being fantastic. And so what I wanted to do is a step-by-step process of how you kind of go about that. So the first thing obviously is picking the song. A lot of the time in those situations, they'll say like, oh, we need a country song. We need a Halloween song. We need a Christmas song, whatever it may be. Usually those are those instances where you're going to be doing that very quickly. But so then you have to stand back and go, okay, well, how do I make this easy for my group? And the first thing is keeping it to 4 parts. Now, I know that a lot of these groups, in my groups too, I was an all-male a cappella group, and I'd go bass 2, bass 1 tenor, 1 tenor 2 a lot of the time for this situation. And then you have the soloist on top. And then the VP on the bottom. So I guess you could call it 6 parts, but it's 4 vocal parts. In a mixed group, then you'd go bass, tenor, alto, soprano. The whole thought process is going to continue though. It doesn't matter if you have male voices, female voices, both, whatever. You just keep it to 4 parts. And so when you hit that intro, the first thing is you need to establish the motifs. Now, what do I mean by that? Generally, there's going to be a driving instrument in the song. In a song like "Body Like a Back Road," there's a electric guitar part that has the kind of the solo line, and then there are some background rhythm guitar parts in there as well. And so what you do is you look at those instruments and you establish the rhythm of the motif, and you establish just the chord base, and then usually 1 or 2 of the parts, usually 1 in this case, will establish that motif, and they're going to hold that for a majority of the song. That's how you're going to make their part really, really easy. You kind of got to look at all 4 parts, and how do you make the song sound like the song and make their part sound easy? So that's the first thing, is finding that motif and driving that home immediately, and that part is essentially learned. Obviously, it'll change a little bit as the chords change and everything, but the idea of it is done. There's like minimal rhythm work at this point, pretty much done. Now, whenever you get to the verse, you're going to pull up the chords, you're going to look at what the chords are, and you are going to make them as simple as possible. You're going to throw the bass on the tonic of the chord, you're going to have a third, you're going to have a fifth, and then you're going to have your one interesting part, once again, the motif of the song. Stacking them up like a triad is really, really nice. You can invert them if you want, but I would keep the tonic on with the bass. Now, if the bass line, you started ending up with inverted chords in the song that has like a bass line going like G, A, B, C, G kind of thing, then you can obviously work them up that way and utilize that part of it. But so that's the verse. Really just stick with the chords, keep it easy, and then look at what the instruments are doing. Do you want to be polyphonic or do you want to be more monophonic? Do you want a little bit more texture behind it? Is it an acoustic guitar where you need more texture? Is it a piano that's more going to be kind of the same rhythm for all the parts? You just have to look at that and figure out what that's going to be. And then you get to the chorus. And that's when you really address it. You really crank that motif up if you can. If it changes, then you got to write a different part. But at this point, you have to decide, how big do I want this chorus to be? Do I want it to be really, really heavy hitting, or do I want it to have a lot more texture? A lot of the time, songs will throw more texture into the chorus, and so you make the rhythms just a little bit more complex to match up with the rhythm of the song. Obviously, you have the VP changing and the vocal line changing, the lead part changing, but that will really create a nice bass for you in that chorus. Now, going forward into the second verse, I like to go in this situation. I like to go back to essentially the exact same thing. Maybe you throw one little echo line in there where the solo sings a line and then you have them echo it at the end, just one part within the thing, and then they hop right back on their part. But generally, you're going to let your VP and your soloist drive that next verse to try and keep it easy for your group. And then you go down to go down back through the chorus again. Try and make it a little bit bigger. One of the ways that you can do that is just changing the sounds, just changing the vowel sounds. So if your first chorus, maybe you started it on, and most of the people were singing oohs, and maybe you had some singing a few lyrics. Maybe there were some dim, dim, dim kind of things going on. The next chorus, open those up. Maybe now instead of dim, 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 it's da, da, da. Instead of ooh, it's ah. If you open up those vowel sounds, it's going to create a bigger sound no matter if you like it or not. So that's one way you can control the build of the song without writing in necessarily dynamics, because once again, you're trying to learn this in a week. You got to go quick. And so then you go down into the bridge. The bridge, you'll have a choice based on the song. Do you want it to feel really, really big? Do you want it to kind of strip back and feel really, really soft? If you're going for more of a bigger sound and you're going to really try and oh yeah, this is the heavy hitting part of the song, go unison. Have one octave here, and let it just live. If you're going to try and create more of a environment and more of a textured sound, you might go with something that's a little bit more harmonized, recognizing that is going to be an extra stepping stone and a little bit of a workout for getting that learned for the group. And you can obviously focus on that in your rehearsals. Either way, whatever the song calls for, that's kind of where you can go from there. And then you can go to that last chorus and you can make it bigger. How do you make it bigger? You could have one part singing the lead line with the lead. That's one way to make it a lot bigger, and then you really open up the vowels even more if you can for the rest of the parts. You can also spread the parts out more. Send the basses lower, send the sopranos or the tenor ones, whatever you have, or whatever, depending on your group. The high parts higher, low parts lower. Spread the mids out just a little bit, and then you have your soloist that maybe have some extra riffing going on in between there or whatever. That is something that you can do to really, really create more sound, or more of a heavy hitting last chorus. You got to rely a lot on the soloist and on the VP in these situations to create more rise and fall, because once again, you're going to be using repetitive parts, really repetitive parts. Every time there's a G chord, you're using the exact same voicings. Every time there's a D chord, exact same voicings, so that your group can just get used to it. And the only thing you're really changing is texture, if you can. So that's kind of my fast breakdown on how to arrange something in a short period of time that's going to be easy yet effective, sound great, be a good look for your group, while also not making it so that you're pulling midnight rehearsal after midnight rehearsal after midnight rehearsal. Sometimes it calls for that, but we've all been there, and it is not fun. So I hope you enjoyed this kind of breakdown of how to do that arranging. I might start this into a series. Let me know if you enjoy it. And let me know what you'd like to hear, techniques you'd like to have a better understanding of. And I'll break them down and I'll talk about it. I'll catch you in the next one.